me up every time.
At the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about this for a second, because the world of Marvel and comic book movies and Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. Let's just take a glimpse of this if you haven't seen the trailer for this.
Okay.
Make this easy for you. You will bring me what I need. Or everything you call a life will end.
So yeah, so it's Paul Rudd. Everybody loves Paul Rudd.
He's a fabulous individual.
There's nobody out there that dislikes Paul Rudd. In fact, I think that was something they said at the Oscars or something like that. Look, everybody loves Paul Rudd.
Everyone does.
And this has Michael Douglas as well.
Yeah, so it's Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jonathan Majors, Evangeline Lilly, and Paul Rudd. Oh, most of these characters are all familiar from the previous two installments of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And so are Ant-Man, as it were. The concept of Ant-Man, he gets small, like an ant.
Okay.
He gets big, like a person.
Okay.
You get bigger, then you get small again, like an ant. That's the whole premise of this. And this time they get so small, they go down to the quantum level.
Oh.
To the Quantumania.
Okay, that explains
where
it.
they meet Jonathan Majors' character, which is known as Kang. And therein lies kind of the major fault of what this whole film ends up being, is that Kang is this almighty, powerful warrior. And the problem with that is in the worlds of sci-fi, there are several rules that we have a hard time breaking when we're writing narratives. One is that if you make rules in your science fiction universe, you can't then turn around and break those rules, because suddenly you set up your audience to believe one thing and then, oh, switcheroo, it doesn't work. That's not what's happening here. But instead what they do is they give Kang godlike powers. And when you have this omnipotent or this all-powerful character, it's kind of like when you have a dog with tug-of-rope, right? You play in tug-of-war with the rope and the dog, and if the dog never gets a chance to win, it kind of loses interest in playing tug-of-war.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you have a character who's all-powerful, like Kang. And we get this...
That makes for a tough game of tug-of-war.
It does, right? And so what we end up having is a lot of CGI in this film, very little plot.
Oh.
Everybody still loves Paul Rudd, but it just kind of runs flat. And I got to tell you, it left me kind of bored.
Because I got to admit, I don't know a ton about the Ant-Man franchise. Was this a popular enough franchise where it warranted another movie?
That's an excellent question. And I think that's kind of one of the questions that's being asked about a lot of these Marvel films.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They churn one out every month.
But the first film was done by Edgar Wright.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Who always has an interesting vision for stuff. How about this one?
This is not done by Edgar Wright, rather, and the director's name escapes me at the moment. What I can tell you is, though, it doesn't carry that Edgar Wright panache or the flair or the humor that Edgar is often able to incorporate into a lot of his films and the way he cuts them together. So this just, like I say, it comes up flat. It doesn't really service anything, and so I'm going to give this one popcorn.
One popcorn.
No!
One popcorn.
I mean, you might like Paul Rudd, but it doesn't really do anything to advance us.
And by the way, that's out of 4 popcorns.
That's out of 4.
Yeah.
That's a heavy lift for Paul Rudd to carry an entire movie on his
Hard to
back
do.
like that.
Especially
Although
when
ants
he's
can
that
do
big.
that normally. They can.
and strong point, Billy, especially when he's this big. He's at the quantum level. He's very
Well,
tiny.
he needs a million other ant people maybe to help out with that, as ants do.
Yeah, we'll let this one, I guess, go.
Oh, Adam.
Sorry.
We
Thank you so
appreciate your
much.
honesty.
Yeah.